So the bye week gave us a break from talking
God.
Patriots,
Thank
watching
God.
Patriots. I think that's the best part. Monday Night Football wraps up. Week 14, Bengals at Dallas.
Gross.
Taking on the Cowboys. Cincinnati, almost favorites by 6.
So
Cincinnati at 4-8. The Cowboys, mind you, at home, 5-7. One more win. And the Bengals are 5.5-point favorites as of the recording of the show.
are you surprised?
No. I mean, this is a Cincy team that just lost by putting up 38 on Pittsburgh.
Right.
This team, you look at that spread, yeah, I don't mind it. I would lay the points. I say over. Just Cincinnati, because it's around 50, the Bengals will put up 45 points on Dallas, and the Cowboys will answer back with, 24 of their own.
Oh, 24?
Yeah.
I have 38-17 as my final score.
This Bengals defense stinks.
It does stink.
Over. Fair.
It does stink. And the Cowboys have been playing better as of late. I'll give them that. But it's still Cooper Rush, and I'm just not interested. Okay? Like, the Bengals this season, if you looked up the word underachieved in the dictionary, it would be the Bengals logo. Okay? The only person on that team who can hold their – well, there's two people on that team who can hold their head high and literally say, well, you'll give me the third because I'm only thinking two. The two people, in my opinion, who can hold their head up high and say this ain't our damn fault is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Who's your third?
Trey Hendrickson, their DN.
Okay,
He's been phenomenal this year.
Deal. So 3 players. Outside of that, including the coach, they have all failed. And – I guess mathematically they're still in it. They would need to win out. And look, 9-8 in that conference still may not get you in the playoffs. But if anyone can win out, it would be the Bengals. I'm not betting on it. I don't believe in it. I'm done with them. I've lost enough money and patience on this damn team in the last 3 years, actually. I keep waiting for them to get back to a Super Bowl. And the funny thing is, they never do. They don't win, okay? And then I said, well, if Joe Burrow can stay healthy this year, which he has, and he has put up video game numbers, and guess what? They still don't win. This is a loser franchise. They look it. They have everything they need to be successful, and they're still not. The only reason I'm picking them in this game is because I don't buy how the Cowboys have looked lately. I think a lot of obviously last week was a bad team who they beat. And then when they beat the Commanders in Washington, the takeaway from that game felt more like the Commanders blew it than anything that the Cowboys did right. There were all kinds of follies and just weird stuff in that game from the Commanders' end. So I'm going to take the Bengals here to smash the Cowboys, 38-17. And look, this is a get-right moment for them, possibly. If you can beat the hell out of the Cowboys in Jarrah World, maybe you get some momentum. Maybe you can. Do you have their schedule in front of you? Maybe you can rattle off. No, Bengals. Maybe you can rattle off some wins. But I believe they need to win out to even have a shot at a wild card.
Dude.
I don't know. I just don't believe they could do it. But for this game, they are better than the Cowboys. And I don't think this game's going to be particularly close.
They would need to win out their final 5 games. Win out. But they finish home versus Denver and then at Pittsburgh. They're not going to win those games.
What's the rest of the games?
At Dallas, win. Okay. At Tennessee, win.
Yeah.
Versus Cleveland, it's at home, but that's a coin flip. They could win it. Versus Denver.
Yeah. So the last 2, Denver,
and then at Pittsburgh.
So listen,
they could win 2 straight.
You
they
have
could
some
have 6
momentum.
wins.
Yeah, you have some momentum.
They could be 6-8.
They could. And by the way,
heading
George,
into the final 3 games of the season.
That's where I was going. You get some momentum. You get a couple wins in a row. You're feeling yourself. Burrow and Chase are doing their thing. You're cooking. Defense maybe is playing better. I haven't seen it yet.
They've had that first part, though, of Burrow and Chase cooking.
Yeah.
And the defense just it's not going to be there. It never has.
There's no run game either. There's no consistent run game. The defense sucks. I thought Zach Taylor is a good coach. I'm starting to – I don't know how people in Cincinnati feel. I imagine if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm over him. I think I'm over him. I'd want – if I were a Bengals fan, I would want a high-profile coach, an offensive mind. I would.
If I was a Bengals fan, I would want ownership that would invest in the team.
Yeah. Jamar Chase doesn't have a contract.
Yeah, you know how expensive he's going to be? He's going to be ridiculous if they just paid him. T. Higgins, again, they franchised him and just pay him. But pay him a season ago, and then you would have been able to pay Joe
Jamar
Burrow.
Chase too, right?
And if you do signing bonuses, it kicks the costs down the road, but that's how it protects you from the cap.
That's right.
It's what we see the Chiefs do all the time when they agree with a new deal with Patrick Mahomes, keeps him in Kansas City for 10 more years, and they just take that back or the front end, they give him a signing and straight up guaranteed money. You know what you get from Joe Burrow. You know what you get from Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
That's right.
The ownership's just cheap.
Yeah.
I get your point, though, and Zach Taylor hasn't been perfect, but this offense has been top 10 in the league.
I like him.
The defense, is like bottom 5, bottom 3.
Yeah.
The defense can't stop anybody.
And the offensive line, they still have not fixed that.
No.
I like Zach Taylor. I just, look, we do a show in Boston, so I don't know what the hell's going on in Cincinnati other than that chili that gives everyone the runs.
Skyline, baby.
Yeah, but listen, I'm just saying, if I'm a Bengals fan or if I'm doing media in Cincinnati, I think I'm over that. I mean, like, I would want either bring in a defensive-minded head coach maybe. Like, I'm just going to throw a name out. Mike Vrabel comes in, right? Because everyone wants him. He's the hot shack of the moment. You bring in Vrabel if you're the Bengals. All of a sudden, your team overnight, George, you're tougher. You know your defense is going to be better. And then you let the offense be the offense. They're already good. Now, you got to figure out your run game with a Vrabel. He's going to want to be physical, but you can figure that out. Running backs grow on trees. Not great ones, but good running backs do. I mean, if I was a Bengals fan, that's what I would want. Or I could see the flip side, give all the money to a Ben Johnson or whoever, the hot guy at the offensive side of things, and you hire him and you maybe throw some money on the defensive end. I don't know, but I just feel as though you got to the Super Bowl and lost it, right? And since then, your team has regressed. So this is a good spot for the Bengals to get back on a winning track. They have a couple soft games after this one as well. Maybe you get a streak going. And to George's point, I think you said 6-8 going in the last couple weeks there, maybe you can win out. Because those last few games, Broncos and I think you said Steelers.
And Browns.
Well, I'll give them a win in the Browns. But particularly the Broncos and the Steelers, if you have to win those two games for your playoff lives, I don't trust them to get it done, George.
Yeah.
I don't.
2021, losing the Super Bowl to the Rams that season. 2022, good team. I think Joe Burrow was battling injuries.
Burrow got hurt.
I don't think he didn't have a full offseason either, like appendicitis.
He got hurt in camp, if I remember.
And then his calf strain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then 2023, I mean, he tore the ligaments in his throwing arm, which is comparable to like tearing an ACL.
That's right.
And the defense was good though with Lou Anarumo.
Now he's healthy.
It fell apart. Yeah, he's healthy. Him and Jamar Chase have been the best quarterback and wide receiver combo in the NFL.
That's right.
Like, by far. But if you go away from a Zach Taylor, that's the offense. Like, is Dan Pitcher going to stay, who's their offensive coordinator? I don't know. Mm-hmm. And sure, like, bring in a Ben Johnson, but what's the difference? To me, it is the roster because they let a good defensive tackle go away. Guess what? Your defense got soft.
Yeah.
They lost Jesse Bates going back to last season. They never recovered from that.
Yeah.
Again, it's who's making the decisions in the front office and the cheap-ass ownership pay to keep a team together because they are absolutely wasting away Joe Burrow. Zach Taylor isn't the best head coach, but he's not the issue. To me, it is a lack of talent, especially on the defensive side.
Sure.
Lou Anarumo is a really good defensive coordinator, but what can you do when you just don't have the guys? Like, your scheme can only go so far. When your best corner, Cam Taylor-Britt, is like lost every single time it looks like he's on the field. So,
what about the Cowboys side of this? Is there anyone on that side of things that you like at all? Because I don't. I don't like the run game. I think Cooper Rush sucks. I don't like.
I think you're not keeping Cooper Rush. You're stuck with Dak. That contract's terrible.
Well, I'm saying for this game. I just mean this game.
No, I'm going with the Bengals. So as I joked about where the Cowboys, by the way, have won 2 straight. Bengals have lost 3 straight. Again, Bengals are favorites by almost a touchdown. I would go more of, I'm going to lay the points here. We saw them put up 38 on the Steelers, and that's a game where there were fumbles, there were pick sixes. I mean, that Steelers defensive line's unreal. So at Dallas, they match up well there. But also that Steelers offense is good against his bad defense. I'm going to go over, actually. I'm talking myself into it. I'm going over.
Let me ask you this.
I'm not taking the points.
Is there any scenario, and if so, please paint the picture, where you believe Mike McCarthy is coaching for his job and retains it? Because they've won a couple in a row. They're 5-7.
Straight. Yeah, right.
They're in the wild card
hunt.
hunt.
Beat the Bengals.
Like, you tell me the scenario where he keeps his job.
It would, man. I think it's done. I think he's beating a dead horse. But if you went 3 straight by beating Cincy, then you have Carolina, Tampa, Philly, and Washington. Can beat the Bengals, can beat the Panthers, can beat the Buccaneers. You're going to lose to the Eagles. Can beat the Commanders again. That would be adding 4 wins over the last 5. That'd be a 9-win team. Insane.
But he gets fired?
He won't, because Jerry's an idiot.
So they get 9 wins. He keeps his job.
I don't
so
think
he's
they
coaching
beat
for
the
his job.
Bucks. Yeah, he's coaching for his job.
By the way,
but he shouldn't keep it.
are we sure they beat the Panthers?
No, not 100%.
Right? Lately?
Especially how good that Panthers offense is. Led by Chuba Hubbard, who just like the Cowboys' run defense is terrible.
This is why I asked you the question, because I believe that this guy is coaching for his job. Duh. But I just don't think he's going to keep it. So I think you lose this game, and then, there's a couple really hellacious guys. I mean, I have to imagine Washington wants to get back, and the Eagles are the Eagles. You're not winning those. I mean, I think Mike McCarthy is a lame duck head coach. I do not believe he will retain his job. And we just talked about Zach Taylor. Maybe. We'll see. It's not we'll see with Mike McCarthy. If they go 9-8 and they're a wild card team, you could be right. Maybe he can resuscitate
I wouldn't bring McCarthy back. No.
I wouldn't, but I agree with you that Jerry probably would. But I just don't see that happening, and that's why I asked you that question. I think the buck stops here as far as the Cowboys playing better lately. I think the Bengals beat their ass. I do. 38-17.
I was about to ask. Yeah, what did I throw out there? 45,
you gave
24.
The Cowboys 24, yeah. That's pretty good. We kind of have the same score.
Still don't want to lay the points.
We have the same score.
It's Bengals defense, but it's Cooper Rush.